everyone. Welcome back to the Big Four podcast. Unfortunately, this week, Luke and Alex are not here again, but not to worry, they'll be back soon. We have a special guest. It is not Heath. We are bringing Max. Max, how's it going?
I'm doing all right. Watched a little bit of college football yesterday and enjoyed myself.
All right. Let's get into it. We'll start with Michigan. They defeat Middle Tennessee 40-21. Max, what's your reaction from this game?
Well, I wish the game wasn't on Big Ten Network. That was kind of unfortunate. So I saw in the first quarter they were losing, 7-3, something like that?
They were down 7-0 after the first 2 minutes of the game.
Well, anyway, I was a little bit worried. I heard I was watching another game and they said that it had a resemblance of Appalachian State. So
yeah, I don't know about that. Let's calm down.
Well, I was happy with the win as a fellow Michigan fan myself. Yeah, on to the next one.
Okay, Mike.
They suck. They sucked from the first quarter. The quarterback sucks. They have no running game. Their offensive line's overrated. Defense sucked. This all comes together and they'll go 9-3 again. Really, my opinion on them has really changed since the predictions. They just didn't show me enough. Usually, the first week tells you a lot, and this first week really tells
tells you a ton.
Really tells me Michigan's not a very good football team. That's what it tells me. A 9-3 football team.
Well, you are right about that. They are a 9-3 football team, but
that's not very good. That's terrible for Michigan standards.
Actually, our fans like mediocrity.
Nope. Nope. Michigan expects to go 13-0 every year. They expect it.
That's not true. We expect mediocrity.
If you don't go 13-0, every single player should not have a scholarship the next year.
Okay. This is, in my opinion, one of the most embarrassing wins in Michigan history. Absolutely shameful performance from this team. The offense, actually, I will say this, I was impressed by the offense. I was very happy to see the new Josh Gaddis offense. They run everything out of the gun. They run the spread offense. I like to see it. Shea Patterson was very, very good in this game.
He sucked. Listen, he's not a very good quarterback. I don't know why everybody hypes him up. He's average at best.
He was very, very good in this game. Showing why he's the best quarterback in the conference. The offense, the running game was okay. That was fine. The offensive line played well. Had a couple drops, but that's all right. They turned the ball over a couple times. I'll chalk that up to week one.
Still can't give up 21 to Middle Tennessee State.
Yep, give that. The defense was horrendous. Absolutely embarrassing performance from the defense. Although Middle Tennessee's points were off 2 turnovers, and it did have a short field, there is no excuse for the way Middle Tennessee just marched down the field on those 2 drives. And the other 7 points were garbage time. But the 14 points they actually scored, they just marched down the field and walked into the end zone. That is absolutely 100% inexcusable, and something needs to be fixed. That can't happen. The defensive line was horrific in this game. There was no pressure unless they brought a blitz, which left the defensive backs out to dry. Although I thought the defensive backs played well, but the biggest problem in this game is the defensive line. You are not getting any pressure on the quarterback unless you bring a blitz, which is a problem. You can't get past Middle Tennessee. I don't know what they're going to do in the coming weeks when they play better teams. I will say this: Middle Tennessee is a good team. That's the team I'll be watching all season. They were in the Conference USA Championship game last year. They're a decent team, but this is an embarrassing performance from Michigan. I expect to see better moving forward. So this is unacceptable.
If you're playing Ben Mason on defensive line, you have no chance.
Well, that's enough of that. Move on. Michigan State takes down Tulsa 28-7. Tulsa had a really good day on the ground, a solid negative 73 rushing yards. Your reaction to Michigan State's win?
I was shocked on Twitter. I saw that Tulsa running back said he's going to go for 200 on Michigan State.
Yeah, I believe them.
When I saw it, I checked it that they had less than 0. In fact, he could score 2 99 touchdowns and still not make his promise. So full stand by him.
Yep. Yeah, he was actually the leading rusher, and he had 0 yards rushing. So he had a very nice day on the ground. Tulsa, as Chris said, coming into this week, Tulsa, a very good football team in a Power 6 conference, just a dominating win for Michigan State. Our defensive line is unstoppable. Starting left to right, we got Jacob Panashuk on the left defensive end. He was unblockable. The two defensive tackles, Mike Panashuk and Raekwon Williams, were also unguardable or unblockable. And Kenny Willekes was unblockable as well. He won the Defensive Player of the Week, even though there's 2 games left in the week, but he still won it. The secondary was very good. There was 1 lapse at the end of the first half, but that's going to happen sometimes. Tulsa was awful. Their offense was awful, but that's because of our defense. I think they'll put up 50 points a game the rest of the year. As Chris says, they have a very, very good quarterback, Zach Smith. As for the offense, didn't go according to plan. The running game sucks, but when doesn't the running game suck for Michigan State? Brian Lewerke was very good. I think he proved why he's the best quarterback in the Big Ten. Made a lot of good throws. He was under pressure a lot.
Right.
What?
This guy threw more picks than touchdowns last year.
I don't care. There's no separation for the wide receivers. He has to put them on point every pass. Shea Patterson's got people running wide open every play. He's got a running game. Lewerke's got none of that. Very good game. Very good game from Brian Lewerke. The receivers dropped a lot of passes. I got to see that cleaned up. The offensive line's a disgrace, but when is it not a disgrace? Lewerke's going to have to carry us this year on the offensive side. But all in all, it's a pretty good start to the season against an elite football team.
Do you think that Rocky Lombardi will start 1 game this season?
Nope, this is Brian Lewerke's team. Well, next year will be Rocky Lombardi's team.
I want to add first. I want to go back on. I forgot to add something on the Michigan thing. Playing 2 quarterbacks is absolute.
Yeah, I forgot. Chris, that reminded me of something. I forgot to mention they really need to think about playing Dylan McCaffrey more. He really gives them a great second option at the quarterback position, and it really gives Michigan a second dimension. They got to play Dylan McCaffrey more.
No, I completely disagree. James Patterson has established himself as quarterback 1, and they bring in Dylan McCaffrey for 2 series in the third quarter and take him out. What is the point of doing that? There's no point in doing that. There's 2 passes in there.
Because they don't want him to transfer?
Fair enough. But they cannot be doing that against better competition. All right.
No, they need to play him more. I think they really should have a platoon at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
We've seen that work before with Ohio State a couple years ago. Even last year, Ohio State, when they had Tate Martell come in a couple of plays. It really works well.
All right. Michigan State, really, this is pretty much what I expected from them. Their defense was good, and it wasn't a big game. Of course their defense showed up.
I mean, you're the one who said Tulsa's a great team, so of course it was a big game.
Well, that all goes out the window at the end of the week. Their defense, there wasn't a clutch situation in the fourth quarter, so they didn't have to choke, so that's fine. I actually do like Tulsa's quarterback. I think I saw something to Zach Smith. He's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
He made a couple good throws.
Yep. And on the offensive side, just the running game is terrible. Lewerke did what he needed to do. He wasn't great. He was okay.
He was very good. Considering the situation, he was elite.
He missed a lot of throws.
He was elite.
A lot of throws.
Nope. The wide receivers couldn't get open. Couldn't get open. And he was under pressure all day.
He didn't miss any throws. Dave Patterson didn't miss any throws.
Yeah, that's because they had people running wide open without a defender in 20 yards of him. I could have made half the throws he makes.
Doesn't matter.
John McCord can make half the throws he makes.
No, okay, that's too far.
Just keep in mind, both Michigan and Michigan State are now 0-1 against the spread. Middle Tennessee and Tulsa both covered.
Well, Michigan State is 1-9 in their last 10 openers against the spread. So,
fair enough.
Michigan State's offense is pretty much what I expected. Not very good, but
it was very good. They put up 28 points. That was very good.
I'm sticking with my prediction of 8-4 for this team. Solid football team, not anything special. And I think they proved it.
I think they proved they're the best team in Michigan. I don't think there's any doubt.
No, you're playing the best team in Michigan this week.
Well, I mean, you got to look at Eastern got a huge win at Coastal Carolina this week. You have to look at that.
Eastern's a good team. Oakland's a good team.
Yep, they don't even have a football program, but they're solid.
All right. Ohio State beats the Fighting Lane Kiffin, 48-21. What's your reaction?
I was surprised they scored 21.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, Ohio State. The score was a lot closer than the game was. They got out to a 28-0 lead with like 6 minutes left in the first quarter, and they kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit. It was all garbage points that FAU scored. Ohio State looks really good. I think they're probably now the second best team. I think they've passed Michigan. But they're not as good as Michigan State. I still got to see Justin Fields a little bit more. He had some wide open throws he made. He looked pretty good on the ground. I'm still not convinced he can throw the football very well, though. He's got a big test against a good Cincinnati team this week. We'll see how he does. But the defense looked very good. Ryan Day looked very good on the sideline as well. And they'll be very good. They'll probably go 11-1. Yeah, they look pretty well.
Yeah, I think they look good too. They went up 28-0 here in the first quarter, and I'm not really going to give anything to FAU for scoring 21 points and the game was over. So, as far as I'm concerned, you really can't take anything away from it. I don't know what to say about their defense because they only played in meaningful time for about a half a quarter. So, I don't know what to say about that. Their offense was good. Fields looks pretty good. I need to see a little more of his arm, but we'll see what happens there. Ohio State is, as of right now, the default best team in the Big Ten, but I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. I
disagree with you.
Who you got?
I think that Ohio State isn't as good. The separation between Ohio State and other schools in the Big Ten isn't as great as it has been in years past.
Oh, I completely agree, but I think that's default right now because week one.
I mean, you gotta watch out for Penn State dropping almost 80 on Idaho.
No, that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, okay.
I understand, but I mean, I still think I think that Michigan and Ohio State, without Urban Meyer, I think that gap is very, very narrow.
Oh, I agree, but I just don't think Michigan can beat Ohio State. It's like a mental thing.
It might be the year. Who knows?
I doubt it.
Yeah, it's their year every year.
Right.
All right, let's move on. Purdue with a tough loss. Too bad Alex isn't here to gloat, but Purdue with a tough loss to Nevada at a last-second long field goal. What's your reaction to this game?
I think it was the Martin twins effect. Even though.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, if I can remember correctly, didn't they beat Purdue in March Madness a couple years past? I could be wrong there. Trying to think. I feel like they might have upset them at one point. I could be wrong.
I don't know. Nothing's coming to mind about that. Yeah. Listen, I've had concerns about Purdue to start the season from a long time ago. They lost a lot on offense this year, including their quarterback, who is probably top 3 in the Big Ten, David Blau. Elijah Sindelar is very talented, but he's a gunslinger. He'll throw a lot of picks. He threw a huge pick at the end of this game, which basically gave Nevada the win. he was good early. He sucked at the end of the game. Nevada was huge underdogs in this game. They lost a lot of people from last year, and that was a pretty good Nevada team last year. But they sucked. They're supposed to suck this year. But the Group of 5 effect on CBS Sports Network, nobody loses. No Group of 5 team loses when they're playing on CBS Sports Network against a Power 5 team. Power 6, my bad.
Okay, let's calm down.
Power 6. But anyways, yep. Nevada was the better football team. Purdue, not that good.
Purdue, this happened to them last year, too. They were a pretty good team last year, but they lost to Eastern Michigan in the non-conference slate.
Yep.
Nevada, they made some key plays down the end of the stretch. Quarterback there, I can't remember his name. He made some big-time plays. And Sindelar's interception, that's inexcusable, what happened there. But I'm going to chalk this up for Purdue to early season struggles. They're a much better team than Nevada. They would beat them 9 times out of 10.
Pretty sure he threw 400 yards. Did he not? The Purdue quarterback?
What?
I'm pretty sure the Purdue quarterback threw for over 400, which has got to be pretty impressive.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but he took at the end of the game.
Listen, Elijah Sindelar's got a really good arm. He's a really solid, rock-solid quarterback. He's just a gunslinger, and he'll make some ill-advised throws. That's why he was benched last year for David Blow, because he kept throwing picks.
Fair enough.
All right. Let's move on. Number 25, Stanford takes care of business against Northwestern. Despite having their star quarterback, KJ Costello, go down with a head injury, Hunter Johnson did not look good for Northwestern. What's your reaction to this game?
I thought that Northwestern was going to win outright. I don't follow them that closely. I always see them pull out wins like these early in the season. And I was kind of disappointed when I saw them lose.
Yeah, very disappointing loss for Northwestern. Their quarterback situation is not good. Hunter Johnson got benched after the first couple drives. They put in TJ Green, the 5th-year senior, and he was okay. He brought Northwestern down the field a couple times. And then, speaking of head injury, he also got concussed and had to come out of the game. And after that, Northwestern had no chance because Hunter Johnson, he was just awful. He was throwing high. He couldn't hit any receivers. But Northwestern's defense is what really concerned me. They were missing open tackles. They were doing Northwestern things, holding in the red zone, but they didn't do enough to win the game. Their kicker missed a field goal, which would have tied the game, and they threw an interception at the end of halftime, which gave Stanford a field goal. So basically, they should have won 10-7. Stanford had a lot more yards, but Northwestern. This is what Northwestern does. They'll give up like 500 more yards and somehow still win the game. But their quarterback play just wasn't good enough. And I don't think Stanford's very good, but we'll see what happens this week.
I think Stanford's an elite football team. There's no shame from going into the game. I want to say there's no shame for Northwestern to lose to Stanford. But after Costello got hurt and they were only up by 10 points, there's no excuse for Northwestern not to win this game. Hunter Johnson, I don't know what was going on there. He looked terrible. But if Costello had played the whole game, I would have said Northwestern lost to a better team. But he got hurt. He's their star quarterback. You can't lose a game like that when you have an opportunity like that to take advantage. And they didn't. So disappointing loss for Northwestern.
Yeah, you can't score 7 points and expect to win, regardless if you're going to start.
Yeah. All right. Just a quick recap of the other Big Ten results. I have something to say about this Minnesota game when we get back to it. They snuck by South Dakota State 28-21. Wisconsin took care of UCF 49-zip. Rutgers, big win over UMass 48-21. Penn State destroyed Idaho. Iowa took care of business against the real Miami. Nebraska did what they needed to do, I guess, against South Alabama and won. Maryland throttled Howard. Illinois with a big win over Akron, and Indiana took care of business against Ball State. Any reaction to any of these games?
I was watching the South Alabama Nebraska game, and I was sure that South Alabama was going to come back. I'm pretty sure one turnover late kind of halted their momentum. But for a few moments during that third quarter, I fully expected a complete collapse on 24-20 in the country.
Yep, I watched a couple of these games. I'm very impressed with Wisconsin. USF's, the USF looked terrible, but Wisconsin did what they had to do. Jonathan Taylor looked very good. Rutgers got down early, but they persevered and came back and won, so solid. I take absolutely nothing out of Penn State beating Idaho 79-7 because this is what they do every year in the non-conference. They just throttle their competition because they schedule the worst possible teams to play. Same with Maryland beating Howard. I really don't take much out of that either. I'm intrigued about this Illinois win. I may have to watch the highlights.
Are you?
Yeah, they might win a couple. They might win a conference game now. They might go 4-8.
They're going 8-4.
Nope.
Brandon Peters back is what Chris
Brandon Peters, that's right.
Yep. Iowa didn't look very good in their game. Minnesota did what they had to do. South Dakota State's the better football team. They found a way to win. So that's very solid. Nebraska looked pretty bad. Their offense was not good. I think, everybody, you can already tell by week one when somebody's overhyping a team. I think Nebraska is definitely the most overhyped team coming into the year. They might go 7-5, 6-6. But their offense is way behind where they were last year. And their defense does look better, but it is South Alabama. So that's about it.
Yeah, I'll go down the line here. Minnesota, this is absolutely embarrassing to only be an FCS team by 7 points. I don't care if this is a good FCS team.
What about Iowa State?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple examples of mine. Well, let's start with last year. One of the worst teams in Division I FBS, Central Michigan, handled a top 4 team in the FCS.
No. Chris Ferguson got hurt. Maine had no quarterback in that game.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does matter.
No excuses. Doesn't matter.
But you're like, J.D. Daniels. And now that Maine's elite quarterback gets injured and they have no quarterback. Oh, it doesn't matter now.
I have another example. This week, Doormat, Big 12 team, West Virginia.
No, West Virginia is going to be okay. They might make a bowl.
No.
Yes, they will.
Played number 2 FCS ranked James Madison and is in control the whole game, the entire second half.
Well, I think James Madison was a little overhyped coming in this year.
They were losing at half, but they were in control the whole second half. So this is an embarrassing performance from Minnesota, who a lot of people have ranked. An absolutely embarrassing performance.
I mean, you got to look. South Dakota State's beaten some very good teams over the years. A very good FCS team.
Matter.
Yes, it does matter.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, you look at that Northern Iowa game. That's a rivalry game. Northern Iowa and Iowa State.
Yeah, that's a rivalry game. So it doesn't matter. That's a rivalry
game.
Yeah,
it's like MSU Oakland. Northern Iowa's won a couple times in the past 10 years in that rivalry.
Yep.
And Minnesota, South Dakota State's a big rivalry too. They're borders with each other.
No, all right, okay.
No, it's only Minneapolis is only like 4 hours from the South Dakota border. They are big rivals. So you cannot say the Northern Iowa State game's a rivalry and this isn't. You can't say that.
Actually, I can.
No, you can't. You can't say that.
Yep, it's free country. I can.
Fair enough.
Okay, Wisconsin, I was actually pretty impressed with them. It was a big win. Rutgers, big win for Rutgers. One step closer to the Big Ten championship. Penn State, I take nothing out of that. Iowa, my Big Ten champion, Iowa.
They suck.
Solid win for them.
They might go 7. They're going to go 7-5 for like the 10th straight year.
Nebraska, really, they're terrible. They're not a good football team. I now have them not making a bowl after that performance. Maryland, that's a big win for them. My guy, Josh Jackson, big game for him. Big win for Maryland. Illinois, what a win for Lovie Smith and Brandon Peters. Let's go. And Tom Allen, picks up a big win for Indiana. I was very impressed with the way Tom Allen was able to coach this team down the stretch.
Yeah, that was a terrible win. That was an embarrassing win for Indiana.
That was a great win.
They need to put Peyton Ramsey back in.
Maybe. All right. Let's move on. The SEC had some struggles in week 1. Ole Miss falls to Memphis 15-10. Tennessee loses at home to Georgia State, coming off a 2-10 season, 38-30. South Carolina loses to rival North Carolina 24-20. And Missouri falls to Wyoming 37-31. Reactions to these games?
I think that Tennessee game was absolutely hilarious. I didn't see the entire game, but I saw the last clip of the Georgia State touchdown. And Tennessee's defense was abysmal. It was ridiculous. I honestly don't think that Tennessee will be relevant for the next few years. And to start off with a loss and getting up 38 points to Georgia State is not a good way to start the season.
Yeah, I think Tennessee fans might be the most hopeless fans in college football because they are absolutely screwed with their schedule every year. They have to play Alabama every year. They have to play Georgia every year. They have to play
the SEC.
Yeah, and they have to play Vanderbilt every year, and that's a tough game for them. They never win that game, it seems like. This game is a killer. They are now locked into not making a bowl by losing this game. Yeah, if I'm a Tennessee fan, I just give up because they have no chance of going anywhere. Ole Miss, that was a really weird final score. The Ole Miss defense wasn't actually bad for once. They got Mike McIntyre from Colorado to be their defensive coordinator. He seemed to do okay.
They're really missing Shea Patterson right now.
Well, no. They probably lose 15-5 if they had Shea Patterson. South Carolina, my gosh. Fire Will Muschamp. He's a terrible head coach. I don't even know how he has a job.
Hold on. Can I get the clip of you saying last week that Will Muschamp is better than Mac Brown?
Listen, I've changed my mind. He's a terrible head coach.
Oh, really?
How the hell do you lose to North Carolina? I have no idea how that happened. Jake Bentley has gotten worse since his sophomore year. He sucked. And no shame for Missouri. The Carter Blackburn effect was you just can't win. The Carter Blackburn effect gives the group of 5 team at least a 2-touchdown advantage. You have to win by more than 2 touchdowns to win by 3 points. I mean, Missouri had no chance. So it was a very good win by Wyoming. The Mountain West is better than the SEC.
Okay. Ole Miss, they probably win that game most times. It's kind of a quirky game.
Here comes Chris making the excuses for the Power 5 teams here.
There's no excuse for Tennessee. I have nothing to say about that. That's just embarrassing.
Well, listen, Georgia State's the second best team in Atlanta. Gotta give them credit.
Okay. South Carolina, North Carolina, not surprised at all. I had North Carolina. They're better coached. They're a decent team.
Oh, yeah. They definitely have the coaching advantage because Will Muschamp should be fired today.
And, I was shocked that Missouri lost.
I mean,
Wyoming.
How were you shocked? You knew Carter Blackburn was on the call. I don't know how you were shocked.
Kelly Bryant had a couple key turnovers in this game. Oh, geez.
He was awful.
Actually a great game.
He was terrible.
But, Missouri wasn't motivated. And I don't buy into the SEC struggles garbage. I really don't buy into that.
Why is that?
It's ridiculous.
Why is that? You lose to 3 group of 5 teams you're favored against. Yeah.
The SEC is the best conference, and it's not close. And as a Big Ten fan, I'm willing to admit that they are the best conference. They have
fine. You want to admit they're the best conference? That's fine.
Teams.
I don't want all the SEC fans. And all the SEC fans saying the SEC is an absolute gauntlet. I don't buy that at all. The SEC is not a gauntlet. They have 4 or 5 good teams, and the rest suck.
That's not true. I think they got 6 to 8.
The Big Ten.
Really, really good
No,
team.
the Big Ten has way more depth. It's not even close.
No,
that's even
not true.
close.
Absolutely not.
Not even close.
Not.
What are you talking about? The entire West, that's 7 deep. The entire West is 7 deep, and then you got 4 or 5 in the East. That's 12. The top 12 teams in the Big Ten are you got 12 teams deep.
The West was 7 deep.
The SEC, you got Alabama, you got Auburn, Mississippi State, LSU, Texas A&M in the East. And then you got like 2 teams in the West. You got
Georgia, Florida,
nope,
Kentucky.
just Georgia and Florida. Kentucky looked terrible in their game against Toledo. They suck. That's it. 70.
That's 7 elite teams.
That's 7 okay teams.
7 elite teams.
No. You got maybe 4 elite. I'll give you 4. 4 elite teams.
Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Texas A&M, Auburn.
Florida's not an elite team.
Yes, they
They're
are.
a good football team. They're not elite.
The Big Ten has 1 elite team. That's Ohio State.
You're saying Florida's an elite team?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
You're telling me that the West is 7 deep. Purdue. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Purdue's gonna have some Purdue's gonna cause some problems for some teams. Yeah.
Yeah, because the West aren't as good.
I mean, you got the SEC. You got Alabama. I'll give you Alabama. I'll give you LSU. I'll give you Georgia, and I'll have you pick between Texas A&M, Florida, and Auburn for the last elite spot. That's it. There's not those teams are not all elite. They're not elite.
I disagree.
They're not elite. They're overranked. They're not elite.
No, I disagree. All right. Florida State blows a 31-13 lead and loses to Boise State 36-31. Your reaction?
I used to be a big fan of Boise State just because of their blue turret. So I was happy to see that they pulled this one out. Florida State, I mean, ever since they had that whole scandal go down, they lost a few scholarship offers. They've been an absolute joke. I don't.
Jimbo Fisher leaves your program. He's top 3.
Jimbo Fisher ran them into the ground.
No, Jimbo Fisher left the program. That's why, and he's at Texas A&M building up that program right now.
Yep.
He's gonna win the national championship this year with Texas A&M.
I know. Chris is a big fan of Bo Nix. But this guy right here is my favorite true freshman quarterback, Hank Buckmeyer. He is going to be an absolute stud. He played great in the game against Florida State. Florida State's defensive coordinator, Harlan Barnett, used to be the defensive coordinator at Michigan State. I'm glad he's gone because we've gotten way better since he left. So I'm happy about that. Willie Taggart to me feels like James Franklin. I mean, when James Franklin first came to Penn State, he had a couple really not very good seasons. It feels the same way with Willie Taggart, especially with the way he recruits. He might get into a groove. He might win 9-10 games every year, but he's just not a good football coach at all. But he'll get the talent in there. But my gosh, you can't choke that bad at home when you're leading. When you score 31 points in one half and you put like 100 yards of offense in the second half, that is just absolutely embarrassing. They should have benched James Blackman in the fourth quarter. You got to at least try Alex Hornibrook. He would have gave him a spark, and I think Florida State would have won the game if they put him in the fourth quarter.
All right, that's one of the most ridiculous takes I've ever heard. Alex Hornibrook is one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever watched.
He is
awful.
That's why he's the number one passer in Wisconsin history.
Okay, that doesn't mean anything.
And he's a winner.
No, he's not.
He's won a Cotton Bowl. He's won a Cotton Bowl, and he's won an Orange Bowl. He's a winner.
No, never won a Big Ten championship. Never won a college football playoff
game. He came close. He should have won one year if the defense didn't choke against Penn State.
No excuses.
So if Hornibrook's going to win, then what's Patterson?
Well, that's different.
Listen, Hornibrook was the best quarterback in the Big Ten last year, and
okay, all right. I'm going to say what I think here. Florida State. I was a little surprised that they lost this game. I picked them.
Yeah, you picked them because they were a Power 5 team. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, Boise State. They're solid. I really don't. I'm shocked. I cannot believe they blew a 31-13 lead. It's a disgrace. This is what happens when Jimbo Fisher leaves your program.
Well, Chris, I mean, they have the best true freshman quarterback in the country, Hank Bachmeier, and it's not even close.
Okay, so we're, and this is really shows how bad the ACC is. The ACC is worse than the Pac-12, much worse than the Pac-12, and is the worst Power 5 conference. Not even close. There are two good teams.
Yep, you're right. The Americans coming close.
There are two good teams, and that's Clemson and Boston College, and nobody else is good in that conference.
Boston College.
Yeah, Boston College.
What about Syracuse? You've been hyping up Syracuse.
I like Syracuse, but they've got a tough schedule. So I don't know.
The ACC is 100% a basketball conference.
Yeah.
Nope, they're a lacrosse conference.
All right. In an early nominee for Game of the Year, Auburn takes down Oregon, led by Bo Nix, my guy, showing the clutch gene, and Oregon helping them out a little bit. What's your reaction to this game?
I think that Oregon dominated for the first half or so. They went up early, and I kind of didn't think the game was going to be close. Bo Nix was horrendous the first quarter half, which can be expected given probably one of his biggest moments of his career, and Doris could have played a big part of that. I think that Oregon handed the game to Auburn. I feel that I did like Oregon's offensive line. I think they did a pretty good job in that regard, but the fact that no Oregon wide receiver could catch a football is not great. You got to catch a football in one game.
Yep. I'm gonna look at this game in two phases. I'm gonna start from the Auburn the Auburn way. Auburn didn't look very good in this game. Their defense really kept them in it. I was impressed with Bo Nix in the fourth quarter. He reminded me of Brian Lewerke from 2017. Just not as talented as some of the other quarterbacks, but he just makes the throws when you need him to make the big throws. He makes them. He was very good in the fourth quarter. Oregon, but let's go with Oregon. They sucked. They blew the game. Justin Herbert was exposed against Michigan State in the bowl game, and he was just awful in the second half of this game. I know it said he was 17 for 19 in the second half. That was the most misleading stat line you can ever see. All he did was dump off little screen passes and pass into the flat. He didn't throw the ball more than 5 yards down the field.
Because all the top guys are hurt.
No excuses.
No, I mean,
I'm with Mike on that.
Yeah, he's so overrated. My gosh. He was terrible against Michigan State, and he was terrible yesterday. I don't care what the stat line said. You put the opening drive, they went right down the field and scored. You thought, okay, Oregon's going to put 40 today on this Auburn defense. But no, they didn't stick to what they wanted to do, and they lost because of it. And you know, we knew the battle in trenches was going to be big. Oregon's offensive line against Auburn's defensive line. I thought Oregon's offensive line won that battle for pretty much the entire game.
I did too.
And they somehow still lost. I don't understand how Oregon lost this football game. They find ways to lose. They find ways to choke games away.
Play calling wasn't great either on Oregon 10. You have Kirk Herbstreit predicting the run to the left on fourth down and being correct. I mean, you can't be that predictable.
Oregon, this is another choke job. We remember last year that historic choke against Stanford. That was embarrassing.
Yep, they were up 21-6 in both games.
They were up 30-7 against Stanford.
Yeah, they're up 21-6 also.
Justin Herbert, I agree with Mike. He was okay. He wasn't good enough. He was not good enough for what he's hyped up to be. He's a solid quarterback, but he is not good enough for what he's hyped up to be. And I think part of that is play calling. You call him these little underneath throws when you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert. He's got great arm talent. Mario Cristobal is a terrible football coach. He is awful. They have choked way too many games. He actually reminds me a lot of Jim Harbaugh. Choking in all the big games, finding ways to lose. Oregon, I thought they actually played pretty well. They played pretty well for most of this game.
They outplayed Auburn. They outplayed Auburn the entire game.
Yeah, and Auburn, Bo Nix didn't do anything in the first half. He was terrible in the first half. And, Auburn's defense, it was pretty good. They kept him in it. And this kid, out of nowhere, made play after play after play in the fourth quarter. It's just incredible.
Yep. Brian Lewerke 2.0.
And I thought they were just gonna run a conservative play there at the end and kick the field goal, but this guy throws to the end zone right on the money. Great. I mean,
look at the laugh. You just threw him by
no, it was a back shoulder, right on the money.
Back shoulder. You just threw him by like 2 yards.
No, right on the money.
Fall up and his wide receiver fell
Yep.
out.
Listen, that throw reminded me of Brian Lewerke against Penn State last year. This is a great throw.
And you look at, I don't know if you guys have seen the picture of Bo Nix with a 10-year-old fan after Cam Newton won the national championship against
Okay.
Oregon.
So?
And then he's back on the field against Oregon. So it's a touchdown. Great.
Okay. So?
And then, another aspect of this, big game, Gus Malzahn does it again, wins the big game. He wins every big game. He's one of the best coaches in the country.
7-5, wins every big game.
He loses to the bad team.
Except for when he faces Coach O, then he chokes.
Well, that's different.
Oh, yeah.
He's always been good against Alabama. He wins all the big games. He's just a great coach. He's a great coach. That's the guy you want leading your program.
No. This game is just delaying the inevitable. He will be fired by week 10, I bet.
Well, if he's fired, then Michigan better fire Jim Harbaugh on the spot and hire him.
They can trade.
Yes, trade. All right, let's move on to the picks. And this actually might be a Big Four podcast first. I am in first place at 12-7. Alex and Mike sit tied for second at 11-8, and Luke is in last at 10-9. So it's very, very close. Let's get into it. Cincinnati at Ohio State.
I think this game will be. I actually think this game's gonna be pretty close. I was impressed with Cincinnati and their ability to get at the UCLA quarterback. I still think that Ohio State will pull this out, but I think it may get down to a final possession. Who knows?
No, it won't be that close. Ohio State's defense is very good. Cincinnati's defense is also good. I think, maybe for a half it might be close. I am interested to see how Justin Fields plays. I got Ohio State winning like 38-20.
Cincinnati actually, I was impressed with the way they played against UCLA, but UCLA is a better football team. They are. And I've got Ohio State in an absolute blowout in this game. They're just much better, much more talented. So, and they're at home.
Listen,
so give me Ohio.
You got to take into effect the Luke Fickell effect.
No.
You got to factor that in. Because against his former team, Luke Fickell played at Ohio State for 4 years. He's a legend there. Listen, he'll have his team ready to play.
That was sick.
I think I still think Ohio State will win, but I may take Cincinnati in the spread, depending on what the number is.
All right. This game, the big noon game on Fox, Army at number 7, Michigan.
I think that Michigan will bounce back. I think they'll start off fast, and their team will not be close.
Oh, no. Remember what Army did against Oklahoma last year. Took them to overtime. This is going to be a really close game. I think Michigan will get a big 4th down stop at the end of the game. It'll be like 21-17. Army will just pound the hell out of the ball. They'll win the time of possession by like 20 minutes, but Michigan will find a way to win because they're more talented. But Army will keep it close.
Yeah, Army style of football. When you're playing a better team, it works in Madden, but it doesn't work in real life.
What are you talking about?
You can't run the ball against Michigan. You cannot do that.
Yes, you can. Yes.
They don't throw the ball. Okay. They don't throw the ball. You can just put 8 in the box. No problem.
Okay.
And,
if it was that easy, every team would do it.
Well, I'm predicting that Michigan will not let up a point in this game.
Oh my gosh.
I saw Army beat Rice 14-7. That's embarrassing.
Okay, I take nothing out of that game. That's a perfect Army game. That is how they play.
No.
They love winning those type of games.
No, they're not the Seattle Seahawks. They can't do that. Michigan is going to win this game in an absolute blowout. It's just a bad matchup. Army's actually, I think, a pretty good team, but this is a bad
Michigan's defensive line has no depth at all. They're just going to keep running up and down the field. Michigan's not going to be able to substitute because they don't have any depth. They'll put Ben Mason out there, and boom, the Army's going right up and down the field.
All right. So here we go. Number 22, Syracuse at Maryland.
I think I'm gonna take Maryland this one. I mean, granted they didn't play a good opponent last week, but I mean, 4-12 over 70. I feel like they're still at home. I mean, they must still be rolling. I think I like Maryland there. Upset number 22.
Yeah, I have no idea why Syracuse is ranked. I don't know where this came from. They aren't that good at all. They lost their quarterback, their leader, their lifeblood of their team, Eric Dungey. He's not even there anymore. I really like Maryland. I am concerned, coming off of an opponent like that, just a complete cakewalk. How are they going to fare against a better opponent? Are they going to have some mental mistakes? But I think Maryland's a better team, and I think they'll win like 35-21-ish. I think they're the better football team easily.
I was going to pick Maryland in a blowout, but then I saw Syracuse had a really nice performance against a team that I really like, Liberty, and Hugh Freeze there. So I'll pick Maryland in a close game. Because of Josh Jackson, who I like. My guy, Josh Jackson.
Right.
You can't ignore his experience.
Yeah,
he's been in college for 35 years.
He's been on the Phoenix Suns for a while now.
Okay. All right. Big game here. West Virginia at Missouri.
To be honest, I really don't care. I don't know anything about any of these teams. I know Kelly Bryant's on Missouri. I definitely won't watch this game. I'll pick Missouri just because I know somebody on that team, but that's my expert analysis.
Yeah, give me the better football team, give me the better coach, give me the better quarterback. I'll take West Virginia. No, West Virginia has that. They have that Oklahoma transfer.
Okay, let's calm down.
Listen, they handled the number 3 FCS team in the country. I really like West Virginia. Missouri will not be motivated for this game. Remember, they won't be motivated. So give me West Virginia.
Well, it's a new week. Missouri is okay. First of all, let's start with West Virginia. They're a doormat Big 12 team. They are not good. This is not a good football team. They will not make a bowl. They're
a doormat. They won 10 games last year, but they're a doormat.
Yeah, they are. They lost everybody.
No, they didn't.
Coach.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
They lost their quarterback and their wide receiver. That's about it.
No, they lost everybody and their coach.
Well, their coach sucked, so it doesn't mean anything.
Okay, fair enough. Missouri is a much better team. Kelly Bryant's a great quarterback. I like Missouri in this game of blowout.
Well, listen, Missouri, I'll be shocked if they sell out. They have no fans at all, so we'll see.
That's not true. In Missouri was the first team out of the AP poll this week. So, I'm sure they'll move in after that big loss. Okay. Oh, just a massive game here. Vanderbilt at Purdue.
I think Vanderbilt had a rough first week opponent in Georgia. I think that Purdue will continue to struggle, and I like Vanderbilt on the road here.
I like Purdue to come back and win this game. I was impressed that Vanderbilt was able to keep it semi-close in that game, but I think Purdue's more talented, and I think they'll win the game.
That was actually pretty impressive with Vanderbilt when they played Georgia, and Purdue embarrassed themselves. And I like Vanderbilt in this game.
It was the CBS Sports Network effect. That's the only reason why they lost.
Purdue is playing a team that is worse than the team they lost to last week, so that means they're going to lose again this week.
Right.
All right, so Vanderbilt. Easy pick for me. Oh, here's a game I have a lot to say about. Number 12, Texas A&M at number 1, Clemson. This is perhaps the game of the week, or perhaps the game of the week.
No, it's not.
It is.
No.
I think it'll be close. I don't think Texas A&M will pull this thing out. I feel like Clemson, but I think that Texas A&M will give some sort of a fight maybe in the first half, but Clemson will pull away like third, fourth quarter.
Yeah, this is setting up for another Clemson absolute beatdown.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they're way more talented. It's not even close talent-wise.
What happened last year when Clemson got bailed out by a bad call, and that's why they beat
Well, that's because they had the crappy Kelly Bryant at quarterback. If they had Trevor Lawrence in the whole game, they would have won by double digits easily.
No, not true. They
No.
got bailed out by a bad call.
I think 12 is a little higher Texas A&M as well.
Yeah,
I don't think they're that. I don't think
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I wouldn't even have Texas A&M
Too
ranked.
low.
Texas A&M,
It's way too low.
they don't have Travion Williams at running back this year anymore. Kellen Mond, very good quarterback, top 5 in the SEC. But does he have talent around him? That's the question. We're going to see in this game. They handled Texas State, but that really doesn't mean much. Clemson, really, really good win over a Power 5 team. So I'm going to take Clemson in an absolute beatdown, 56-10.
All right, so I'm looking at 3 things that I'm checking off in this game to see who wins this game.
Coaching advantage goes to Sweeney. If you're going to say coaching advantage goes to Jimbo.
I'm not saying any advantages. I'm just straight up checklist right here.
Okay, fair enough.
Jimbo, big time coach. Both teams have a big time coach.
Don't do this. Give me a break.
Oh, no, hold on. Big time quarterback. Both teams have a big time quarterback.
Come on.
They do. Mon is a big time quarterback. And my third criteria is going to win the national championship this year, and Texas A&M has that. So I'm going to. And I'm sticking with them to win the national championship. This ranking is way too low for them.
12. They shouldn't even be ranked. Give me a break.
No, they're going to win this game. They're going to win it all.
To be fair, if you're coming to the college football playoff, they need to beat. I mean, this would be a good win on their resume.
Yep, they're going to be beating this team, and they'll beat Alabama when they play them, and LSU.
Oh my gosh, they'll go 7-5.
If that hypothetically happened and they had, let's just say, 2 losses, would you put them in?
Oh, they're not going to have 2 losses. They're going to have 0.
This is worse than my Michigan State pick. I mean, they have no chance against half the teams they play on their schedule.
Okay, their schedule is brutal, so that's okay. They play Auburn. That'll be a big win for them.
Don't they play Florida? They play at Florida, don't they?
No. They finish the season at Georgia and at LSU.
Oh, Jesus. They have no... What are you on?
They're going 12-0. They're going 12-0.
If they go 12-0, they would be the greatest football team in the history of college football.
I can even say they're going 10-2, and they're still probably make the playoffs.
No.
That's what I said.
You're right. If they go 10-2, they make the playoffs.
No, Chris, you're right. 7-5 SEC teams are ranked in the top 10. So I mean, yeah, they'll have a chance.
Mike, you can't say I'm wrong. Auburn was ranked number 1 a couple of years ago when they had 2 losses until they lost in the SEC championship game.
Well, they weren't ranked number 1. They were up there.
No, they were number 1.
They weren't.
Yes, they were with Jarrett Stidham.
No, they were like number 4.
No, they were number 1.
Yeah, okay. Give me a break.
Well, they were at least number 1 in Paul Feinbaum's ranking.
Oh, Paul Feinbaum. Okay. Paul Feinbaum, the guy who has the all 14 SEC teams in his top 14. Is that Paul Feinbaum?
Yeah. He's very similar to Jay Billis in basketball, who ranked all the ACC teams at the top.
No, well, Tim Brando's that way for the Big Ten, so.
All right. Big game here. Number 24, Nebraska at Colorado.
I like Nebraska here, but they need to turn around from last week. I still think that they turned the ball over way too much, and the fact that tickets are going for $250 at Colorado is absolutely absurd. I would not pay $20 to go to this game.
What? What is that? What does money have to do with anything?
I was just saying, the fact that the tickets are acting like it's a big game, when in reality, there's no chance I'm watching this, is kind of crazy. Just whatever. I don't really care about it.
I am very, very intrigued for this game. But, you know, I think Colorado's a better football team. They're better coached. They got Mel Tucker from Georgia, their head coach. They'll be well coached. They have Steven Montez, the 20-year senior, who's been there forever. Veteran quarterback. Yep. Give me Colorado. They're the better football team. Nebraska, they might win, but it's on the road. Colorado, big rivalry game from back in the Big 12. But I think Colorado will win.
Yeah, I agree. I think Colorado's a better team. This is going to be a really, really tough place to play. It's going to be packed. The fans are going nuts. Nebraska, I really don't like them. They're not going to make a bowl, and if that's going to happen, then they're going to need to lose this game. So, and you know, I like Colorado's rosters. Like I said, Montez there, and then they throw in Laviska Shenault, who's a Heisman candidate.
Okay, no, he's not.
Well, he is.
No wide receiver can be a Heisman candidate. I don't care how good he is.
And you can't forget, we're forgetting about one effect for Colorado. The Joel Klein effect.
Well, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be Joe Davis and Brock Hewitt on the call, but
yeah, it is, but still a Joe Klein effect.
Okay, then.
It might be Tim Brando.
If it's Tim Brando, it's Colorado's going to destroy him.
All right. Okay. I don't know why we're picking this game. Maine at Georgia Southern.
I don't know anything about either of these teams. I'm not a big SDS guy. I'm just gonna say Georgia Southern. I guess they're home.
Not so fast. Maine is a very good football team. And this is their one non-FCS game of the year right here. Georgia Southern lost their quarterback last week to an injury. Very unfortunate. But Maine has got an elite quarterback in Chris Ferguson. Very good last year in the FCS playoffs, and he had a big day last week against Sacred Heart. Maine did lose their leader on defense for the season, but the Black Bears will control the line of scrimmage, and they will win the game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Georgia Southern for two reasons. First of all, they're an FBS team, and Maine is an FCS team. Second of all, Georgia Southern looked really, really good against LSU. I think they played really well. So that's why I'm going with Georgia Southern.
Embarrassing. Have some state pride.
Okay. Number 6 LSU at number 10 Texas.
I think this is the game of the week over Clemson and Texas A&M.
No.
Yep, the best team in Texas right here.
Oh, give me a break.
Well, I mean, them and Baylor are very close.
I still like LSU here. I don't think Texas is all the way back. I saw LSU. They rolled out like 18 different running backs in their game last week, and all of them produced. So, pretty sure they have Leonard Fournette's look level. He would probably go for 200 yards. LSU legend. I think I'll take number 16.
This one's tough for me. I feel like this one could go either way. I think Texas could be the most overranked team in the rankings, or they could be a very good football team and a top 10 ranking deservingly. LSU, I feel, is a little overranked, but they do have Joe Burrow at quarterback.
Exactly. That's the only reason why I'm picking them.
Yeah, I mean, they're very good. Both teams are very good. I'm going to take Texas because they're at home, but I would not be shocked if LSU won the game.
I really don't know who to pick here. LSU, they win the big games. I'll give them that.
Just ask Gus Malzahn.
The quarterback matchup's close between Burrow and Ellinger. Ellinger's probably better, but it's very
No,
close.
that's ridiculous.
Oh,
Yeah, I agree.
Joe Burrow had like 55% completion percentage last year.
No, he's the greatest quarterback in the history of college football.
Boy, this is a really tough pick for me. But I'm going to go with Texas because I have a Texas A&M national championship game, or I originally did, but not. I don't anymore. I'm clarifying that because Jalen Hurts transferred to Oklahoma, but I'm going to go with Texas. I think LSU is also a little bit overrated. I don't know why they're number 6.
I can't say against Coach O.
All right. Oh, we have the biggest rivalry game of the week. Right here. Western Michigan at number 18, Michigan State.
I probably won't watch this game. It's on Big Ten Network, so I definitely won't watch this game. I don't know. I still like Michigan State, but I take a blind bet and take Western Michigan on the spread, depending on what the number is.
Yeah, the number opened at like 17.5. I would definitely take Western Michigan to cover. But, yeah, I think Michigan State's going to win. Although, big rivalry game. A lot of fans from Western will be in the Spartan Stadium. Joe Wassink.
Michigan State won't fill it, so.
Nope. Listen, they filled it last week. It looked pretty filled to me. Only the very top was
fill
not.
Against Michigan, but they could fill it against Tulsa.
No, that's because that was the student section that was empty. We can't fill the student section against Michigan. That's because the Michigan fans suck. It's really their fault. But back to this game. Joe Wassink, the Western Michigan quarterback, we faced him 2 years ago. He was not very good in that game 2 years ago. He's a changed quarterback. He was very good against Monmouth last week. And they did have an impressive win over a double MAC team. That's a big rivalry whenever a MAC team plays a double MAC team. Doesn't matter which team. I think Michigan State will strangle the run. I think they will hold Western Michigan to under 10 points, and I think they'll win maybe like 27-10, 27. No, let's go with 20-3. 20-3.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a similar pick I had last week. I'm gonna go with Michigan State 10-9 in this game, just because it's a rivalry, and Michigan State can't move the ball. So
typically Michigan State defense collapsed in the fourth, so I'm surprised you have it that close, not having them collapse.
Well, here's the thing. I expect them to be up 10-0. The defense does its best job to show 9 points.
Yeah.
And then Western Michigan will have an unforced error, and that will cost them the game when they could have won.
That choke against Nebraska last year was huge. I mean, the offense turned the ball over twice. They turned the ball over twice in Nebraska territory, and how dare the defense give a hold on the 3-and-out in their own territory and give up 2 field goals.
Push them back. They need to force a penalty.
Yep, they need to do what they did against Tulsa. Negative 73 rushing yards.
Yeah, that was a choke of catastrophic proportions against Nebraska.
Right. Okay.
Okay, let's move on.
They just weren't motivated for that game.
Okay. Miami at North Carolina.
Watching the Miami-Florida game last week, it looked like Miami had a high school offensive line. They could not stop Florida getting to their quarterback. I still think that the true freshman is Williams, his name.
Jaron Williams.
What is it?
Jaron Williams.
Yeah, that's right. I still think that it'll take a little bit of time for him. I like North Carolina here just because of the Mac Brown effect. After seeing him dancing along with them. North Carolina's at home. I would be close, but I still like them.
I agree. That's a good pick right there. You got 2 true freshman quarterbacks right here. You can see right here Sam Howell on the left, Jaron Williams on the right. I thought Sam Howell played very well in the game against South Carolina, and I think they definitely have the quarterback advantage, and they definitely have the coaching advantage. Everything's leaning towards North Carolina for me. I'm going to take North Carolina.
I'm also going to take North Carolina. I think this game will be very close, but I like the Mac Brown effect, and I think Miami has a lot of issues on the offensive line that
That's an understatement. That's an understatement.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make Michigan State's offensive line look like freaking Wisconsin.
But yeah, I'll go with North Carolina in this game. All right, couple games left. Number 25, Stanford at Southern California.
I like Stanford here. I think that USC lost their quarterback. I think that news just broke a couple hours ago. Again, probably won't watch this game, but I like Stanford. Other than their somewhat disappointing performance against Northwestern.
Well, yeah, it's going to be two backup quarterbacks, I think, unless KJ Costello can come back from that head injury he suffered
That's
against.
right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Stanford.
So, just based on that, I'm going to go with the team that has a better coach, just based on that. So, I'm going to take Stanford. I think USC has probably the worst head football coach in the nation, so I'm going to take Stanford.
You think he lasted the year playoff?
No. Urban Meyer will be there by the national championship.
I'm going to go with Stanford here. I think they're a very good football team. I actually think USC is okay. They're a bowl team to me. But,
they will now go 2-10.
I'm going to go with Stanford in this game. Okay, Minnesota at Fresno State. Oh, it's on the CBS Sports Network.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it is.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
I don't know. Minnesota looked horrendous last week. So I guess Fresno State, they're at home. I mean, I don't know anything about either of these teams. But just based on last week's performance, yeah, I'll pick Fresno State. Hey.
The Carter Blackburn effect. I fully expect Carter Blackburn to be on the call. Give me Fresno State.
Listen, I really don't like Minnesota. I think they're not a good football team. I have them going 2-10. But actually, I have them going 3-9. Sorry. I'm gonna have to stick with my prediction here of going with Power 5 teams. So I'm gonna take Minnesota because they're a Power 5 team and Fresno State.
Yeah, it's really worked out well for you so far.
Yeah, it has them in first place.
Yeah, well, if you didn't continually pick Power 5 teams, you'd be like 5 games up.
Well, I picked USF, and how did that work out?
You picked the wrong team.
Oh, big game here. Our last pick. This will be played on a Prime network, no network.
I think it's on Stadium Network. I think so. If you have that subscription, you'll be able to catch it 1 a.m. Eastern time. Be a big game.
Oregon State, Hawaii.
I think that Hawaii is a different team on the island. I think that last time I checked, they haven't lost in like forever on the island. So I'll take Hawaii at home.
Yep. The Colt Brennan effect. He hasn't been there in like 10 years, but he really gave Hawaii all the success they could have. But Cole McDonald, is a very good quarterback. He played extremely well against Arizona last week. Oregon State will be able to move the football, but I got Hawaii winning this game.
Well, this is going to be a tough pick for me if I'm going to stick with my Power 5 prediction. But I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to take Oregon State because they're a Power 5 team and Hawaii's not. Okay. Does anybody else have anything to add?
Yeah, Michigan sucks.
Okay.
Thank you for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, you were much better than Heath. I really appreciate that.
Well, I mean, not saying that much, but I appreciate it.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week. Recap all the Big Ten games and the storylines around college football. Thank you for watching.